WWE can't lie now. They definitely can't do what they like to do where they gloss over that AEW exists because it's a little too apparent. This past week on NXT, they started to reveal some of the plans for next Tuesday's NXT taping, and somebody like myself who was a little naive was wondering what is going on. Cody Rhodes to make a major announcement on NXT next week. John Cena to be in the corner of Carmelo Hayes next week in a match, right?
The Bloodline's supposed to be in NXT as well.
Yes. Paul Heyman's going to be at NXT next week, and Asuka's in a match. So it made me wonder, what could be going on? Why are they doing this? And like I said, WWE, don't try to lie to me. Next week, AEW is coincidentally on Tuesday night when they're pulling out all the stops to have these major names on NXT. Next week, thanks to the opening night of the NHL season on TNT on Tuesday night, and on TBS on Wednesday night, they'll have Major League Baseball playoff coverage. So the only kind of opportunity for AEW this week was to switch days and to stay on TBS on Tuesday night. So Title Tuesday, if you will, for AEW. So they'll be on Tuesday Night Live. And coincidentally, NXT is pulling out all the stops. So for the first time in a while, we get a nice little NXT AEW Tuesday Night War. And like I said, WWE, don't lie to me. You don't be like, oh, we don't even notice. There is no possible way. You are literally having more mainstream talent on NXT randomly. Now, you know, it's one thing if you had Cody Rhodes just say he's making a major announcement and then nothing else. But Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman, John frickin' Cena, the Bloodline, Dominic Mysterio's back as the NXT North American champion after losing it at the pay-per-view, then winning it back this past week. Becky Lynch, she's still the champion there as well.
Don't believe in coincidences in wrestling. You don't want to believe in those coincidences because that's that. You know, like if they try to tell you anything otherwise, like we're not stupid. We know what's going on. Like obviously you're going to put all the stops out to make so you can like the dirt sheet writers of the world. You know, then let's see what they say about it, because I have a feeling that NXT is going to have a pretty nice number next week, I would assume, with all these big names. So I'm curious to see how the numbers line up, NXT versus AEW. That's going to be an interesting metric to check out.
So quickly, I'm just going to go over the two shows, and you're going to tell me where you're watching. It's the age of the old days. You got to pick one, just like the good old Monday Night Wars. You can flip back and forth, but you got to have one that's going to be your mainstay, right? So NXT's got Carmelo Hayes with John Cena in his corner versus Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman in his corner. Cody Rhodes obviously will be there to make a major announcement. Wonder what that could be. Asuka versus Roxanna Perez. Becky Lynch and Dominic Mysterio will be there as well. And the start of the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament, right? Now we move.
Well, they already started that. They started the breakout tournament.
The continuation of it.
Yeah.
We move over to AEW, and it's Title Tuesday, as you have Saraya defending her championship against Shida. You have the International Championship of AEW being defended by Rey Fenix against Jon Moxley. The TNT Championship #1 contendership match, Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson. And then other matches, Jay White, Hangman Page, Chris Jericho versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and of course the AEW in-ring debut of Adam Copeland versus Luchasaurus. So you got 2 hours, Tuesday night, next week. Which one you watching? You got to pick one.
Ooh, that's splitting hairs because I want to see both, obviously, because I feel like they're both going to be quality shows. I mean, I think I got to go AEW on this one, just for the simple fact that I do like. I feel like the match card is better than NXT's. I get Cody Rhodes will be there. I get that, but just the sole fact of seeing Adam Copeland in AEW with all the other matches, the Hangman Pages, the Chris Jerichos of the world. If I had to put it on 100% scale, to me it's like 55 AEW, 45 NXT. It's close, but just the Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge Factor, puts me just a little bit over to the AEW side. I'll probably go there.
It depends on what you're a fan of. Are you a fan of big names and doing segments? Because if that's the case, then NXT's got your spot because they've got the big names doing some talking.
And
AEW's got the in-ring action.
You're right. You're right. And I'm usually the one that likes the really good segments. I've done that before. I'm not going to backpedal on that because I am a bigger fan of that. But just based off of what's going on in AEW, like, I want to see that because, like, for me, I really like Edge. I do like them. I like the matches better. Like, the only match I don't really care for, honestly, for AEW is the Saraya Shida match. Like, I don't like the whole Saraya thing in AEW. I just, like, I don't like, it's one of those things, like, if I have to, like, step away for a second while AEW is on, if Saraya's on, that's probably the perfect time for me to do it, because I'm not really into what they're doing with her, and I'm nothing against them, it's just not really my thing. But yeah, dude, like, Edge, like, I know it's against Luchasaurus, I get that. The other matches are good though. So, like, Ray Phoenix and John Moxley, like, that's another quality match. And Hangman Adam Page is in action. Like, it's close. It's not like I'm saying, oh, one show is way better than the other. It's really a good night to be a wrestling fan, because, to be honest, I'll watch one and then I'll watch it the next day. And the other part for me is I have a subscription to a service that airs WWE programming the next day, so I can watch it from my smartphone anytime, versus I don't have cable.
Yeah,
so,
that
like,
wasn't the question. We know we can all we're gonna watch all of it. You know what I mean? But
for me, I'm gonna watch something live that I don't have access to on my smartphone, versus I can watch the streaming service the next day. So for me, just that portion of it as well, I'll go with AEW.
With streaming services still existing, though, I do have to say watching one live versus the other is still a big deal, because whatever you're not watching live, most likely you already know what happened. So there's only one first reaction. You're only one of the shows you're going to get a first reaction. If Cody Rhodes has something major on NXT, yes, you can watch it later, but you won't have watched it live. You'll already have seen it and heard about it then. So there still is only one reaction. But I will say, to close this out, AEW will, for once, not have to worry about competing with WWE crowd-wise, because NXT next Tuesday night will be at the Performance Center like it always is. So I can all but assume AEW can draw more than like 1,000 people. But Tuesday night, back head-to-head, a rematch of the Wednesday Night Wars that we saw pre and during COVID for one night only, should be interesting.